Every time the prisoner took his medicine, he would secretly spit it out when the guard wasn't looking. Then he took out the medicine his cellmate had hidden in advance and tied it tightly to the bottle with a thin string. He tied the other end to his tooth, and then Peter slowly pushed the medicine bottle into his mouth. He clenched his fists and swallowed the bottle bit by bit into his stomach. After doing this, he took apart a lighter, removed the flint inside, and stuffed the flint into the gap between his nails. After confirming the flint could spark, he immediately hid it away. Finally, he untied his shoelace and tied it tightly around his wrist. Once sure it was secure, he pressed his thumb against the edge of the table and then exerted force with his right foot and wrist at the same time. His finger broke just like that, and this was only the first step of his prison escape, because Detective Frank's son had leukemia, and Peter was the only one with a matching donor. So the police decided to let Peter save the boy. The police dogs seemed to smell something, but Peter scared them away with a single shout. Then the doctors tied Peter to the operating table and began injecting him with anesthetic. When Peter saw this, he quickly moved his throat and bit through the medicine in his mouth. By then, the anesthetic injection was already done. To trick them, Peter pretended to pass out, while his hands slowly started to break free from the restraints. Soon, the doctor noticed something was wrong. His anesthetic index hadn't changed at all, but Peter had already broken free. He instantly kicked the doctor to the ground, then used the flint in his nail to ignite the flammable gas. Just as the operating room descended into chaos, policemen rushed in and shot Peter. Peter had no choice but to flee in a panic. After getting out, he grabbed a defibrillator and slid down through the air vent. Luckily, there was a laundry room below, and Peter wasn't hurt at all. All the policemen started rushing toward the laundry room. Frank was the first to arrive there, but he found Peter wasn't there at all. Turned out Peter had climbed back up through the vent again. He disguised himself as a doctor to avoid attracting attention, then hijacked the doctor to unlock his ankle shackles. Finally, he did a quick stitch on his wound. Unexpectedly, a nurse noticed him, so Peter had to hijack another hostage. At that moment, Frank found him too, but Frank had no bargaining chips left. He could only obey the threat and put down his weapon. However, the woman signaled her colleague with her eyes to kick the gun to her. Another policeman also circled around behind Peter, but Frank's gaze made Peter sense something was wrong, so he threatened the nurse to pull back the curtain. And just like that, the policeman's position was exposed. But this was a good opportunity for the doctor. He kicked the pistol over, but Peter stepped on it with his foot. As the situation grew worse, Frank stood in front of Peter for the sake of his son. Unexpectedly, Peter shot and killed 2 of his teammates on the spot. Then Peter took the woman hostage and went to the room where cyclopropane was stored. He planned to use these to blow up the power room, but the woman took the chance to knock him to the ground and escape. Peter had no choice but to carry out the plan himself. But just then, Frank arrived again. Peter took advantage of his intention to ignite the cyclopropane. The hospital was plunged into darkness in an instant. Then he smashed the hospital window and used the skywalk to escape to the adjacent building. But just as he was about to climb over the barbed wire, the policeman below spotted him and chose to shoot directly at him. Fortunately, the barbed wire blocked the bullets. When Frank saw this, he smashed the searchlight, because Peter was the only one who could save his son. By the time the policeman found another searchlight, Peter had already disappeared.